Welcome, everyone. I'm Jeanne Ann with Dunebrook, the director, and welcome to Tuesday at 10. We are so lucky to have such wonderful guests today. We have Debbie Briggs with the Open Door Adolescent Clinic and Jennifer Carroll with the Open Door social worker at the Open Door Adolescent Health Clinic. Known Debbie for a long time. Jennifer is a wealth of information and expertise in the area of social work, and both of them helping out the students at Michigan City High School. So we will begin getting information and tips from them, understanding some of the issues of the day. But first, just to tell you a little bit, of course, our theme for February for Tuesday at 10 is relationships. And boy, isn't it, bottom line, isn't that what life is all about, is our relationships. In fact, Dunebrook was really founded 32 years ago on helping children and parents with relationships. Of course, the serious issue of child abuse, that's what we do, child abuse prevention and intervention. We interview children with suspected cases of abuse. We've been able to do that with safe social distancing. And our Healthy Families program teaches parenting skills and family management. We do that virtually. All those programs are free. In fact, you get a free pack and play for a Healthy Families assessment. So if you're expecting or a brand new mom or dad, please give us a call. And then we go into the schools at Michigan City High School, actually grades K through 12, and teach children how to take care of themselves and stay safe with regard to the issue of abuse. So of course, one of the most challenging things during this time are the mental health issues regarding COVID. And we think we have it all together, and some days we're hopeful, and some days it feels like, whoa, this is the craziest thing we've ever been to. So we will talk a little bit about that. So welcome, Deb and Jennifer. Thank you again for coming on the show today. And maybe we'll just start a little bit, Deb, with you on, a little bit of your background and how you got in the field and your career and all that good stuff.
Okay, I'm Debbie Briggs. And I've been with the Open Door for 24 years now. And prior to that, I did probation for 10 years in Michigan City. So Jeanne Ann and I go back. We call us long timers, right? Not old timers.
Right.
I've been very committed to the city of Michigan City, primarily in my social work endeavors. I received my bachelor's and master's degree in social work, and have also worked for Dunebrook as a parents as teachers a few years back. And then currently I'm on the Healthy Communities board that I assist with that every quarter. I've been on that for quite a few years too. So that's pretty much my background in social work.
Well, that's great, Deb. Oh, gosh, you've been at the high school a long time. That is wonderful. Consistency for kids is huge.
Yeah.
Bravo to you, Deb. And Jennifer, you want to tell us a little bit about you and your background?
Sure. Yes. Just like Debbie, I've gotten my bachelor's and my master's in social work, and I've been working with Open Door since the Open Door Adolescent Health Center since we were at the alternative high school, which is where the new police building is now. So way back then, I think maybe 98 or 99. And at that time, I came on board working with Brenda Henry, who was a nurse. She wrote a grant for helping do some group work on preventing teen pregnancy. And then from there, I just continued to expand, and I left to raise my 3 young children. Now that they're in upper elementary school and middle school, I came back to work after about 10 years being gone. So last year I came back, and yeah, it's been a wild ride since I got back. Wow, how things changed.
Who would have guessed, right, Jennifer?
Right. Oh. I thought I was getting out of the house, and here I am back in the house.
Right. Well, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for that. And what an interesting background. And of course, being a parent yourself, all the ups and downs and
Sure.
all the challenges of being a parent. So Deb, maybe if you could, for our audience, tell them about the Open Door Adolescent Health Clinic and just what's the history and what do they do for parents who may not understand the depth of what you do.
Sure. The Open Door Adolescent Health started back in 1997 at the Alternative High School. And we were under the auspice of that time of the Open Door Health Center, which was before HealthLink, and it was a volunteer doc program that was provided in the community. So in 97, when we started the Adolescent Health Center, basically it was to meet the needs of the students' health and mental health, comprehensive. And so we started off at the alternative school. And then after the alternative school closed for, I think it was about a year or two, we ended up in a junior high, a middle school for a while. And then we got out to the high school, which was really where we needed to be. And so we've been there since that time. And basically our program is all grant funded. So we provide health and mental health services. We have a nurse practitioner on staff. And so we have, just like a doctor's office, she has appointments. So anything that you can be seen for your doctors, you can be seen with our nurse practitioner. In the morning, usually first thing we do walk-ins from 7 to 7:30. So those kids who aren't feeling well or have issues, and then the rest of the day it's by appointment. Typically we can get you in the same day or the next day. So that's been real convenient. And I think there are a lot of students out there that sometimes just don't make it to their doctor. So this really gives them an opportunity to make a relationship with a medical professional and, get questions answered that they have. Sometimes I think they're just a little bit intimidated by going to the doctor or making an appointment or thinking, their parent is in the room with them. So a lot of the students that have the relationship with our family nurse practitioner have become very close, and it's become a great relationship. So it's not only health that they'll bring their issues to her, but if they're having mental health issues, if they're, they'll come in sometimes with a stomach ache, and she gets them back in the office and we find out it's really not a stomach ache. It's stress maybe from the night before, or maybe some suicidal ideations. So I think that's the great thing about the Open Door, that it's both the health and the mental health, which makes it really nice for our students. And because it is grant funded, the students aren't paying anything for the services. And again,
It's
free services.
free.
And it's just a matter of parents getting their child signed up. A lot of times pre-COVID, they had to come in, or we would have opportunities like freshman orientation where parents could sign up, or any time like that. But we've made it now so that they can do it online. And actually, almost all of our forms now are online, so that if we
that's great.
if we are virtual or if we're hybrid, that we have the ability to go back and forth between providing in-person services versus telehealth services. And then, so on the same token, then our social workers are also available for our students the same way. And for Jennifer, it's actually worked out, for us, it's worked out good, because she's been able to work from home, and in the evenings, she's been able to reach a lot more students than she could possibly during the day with with their virtual learning, because with virtual learning, we don't want to pull them out of that during the day. So that's been really helpful. So even though there's a lot of negatives with what happened with COVID, I think we've seen some positive things too, in terms of trying to be more creative in how we provide our services to students. So that's something. Next week, we are hoping to go back hybrid for the next few weeks, and hopefully the numbers will stay down, so that, there still will be students that will remain online, which we can continue to provide services. And then the students are in the building, that we have the ability to see them if necessary. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, in my opinion. The mission of Open Door is that we want to keep kids healthy. We want them to stay in school. So obviously this year more than ever, I think mental health has become more of an issue for a lot of our students. We do our risk screenings online every year with our students, just checking to see how they're feeling. And it's really kind of overwhelming to see how many of them are feeling anxious. They have anxiety, they're depressed, the list goes on and on. We have about 20 to 30 things to pick from. And it's really sad when we get those risk screenings back and some kids are just feeling totally overwhelmed, and they don't really have any resources. A lot of the students, just don't have those additional resources at home. So by providing the risk screening and reaching out to students that are clients of ours, we've been able to connect those students with our social workers, and so that they have that extra support during the school year. So again, I think it's provided challenges for us, but on the same time, it's we really know how much we're needed now,
Yeah.
than ever. So that's been a great thing. So in order to get registered for our services now, like I said, you can do it online. The Michigan City area website has a link. So if parents, and it has to be a legal guardian, a parent, it can't be a step parent or a grandparent that doesn't have legal custody, because we are providing health and mental health services. It needs to be a legal guardian. So
Right. Can I ask Deb along those lines, along the lines of confidentiality? Let's say a student wants to see you and they don't want their parents to know that they're seeing you. What happens in that situation?
Well, when parents sign up, I mean, they can check in terms of, like we give results of information. So for instance, if they're being seen by the family nurse practitioner and they do a strep test and it's positive. So we're going to notify the parents of that. In terms of social work stuff, unless it's an endangerment issue to the, if the child is suicidal or something homicidal where they, we need to report that back. Typically, in order to keep those relationships good with the students, that we try to protect their privacy as much as possible. So, really, to be honest with you, when our students are seeing the nurse practitioner, pretty much when she's done with them, she's calling the parent anyway and saying, hey, this is, what she found medically, and this is maybe the prescription they need, and maybe letting them know what the follow-up is. So, it's a delicate balance, because we understand they are minors, but on the same hand, if we went back and told everything they said to us to their parents, they're not going to ever come back to us. So, and Jennifer maybe can talk about a little bit of that later, but I think it's just really important that that they feel safe with us, and that we follow the guidelines the best we can.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, Deb. Gosh, what a great service.
Yeah, and as far as them getting registered, like I said, it's all online, so it's very easy for parents to get their student registered. Once they register them, it's good for school life. So if they register them as a freshman, it's good through their senior year. And again, it's we do things like sports physicals, and like kids, most kids need those once a year. Wellness exams. We do exams for the ROTC, for the nursing students and the CNA program. And then just regular well visits. And, with COVID, we're taking all those precautions in our clinic, and, just doing the best we can.
Oh, gosh. Wonderful, Deb. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Deb. That was a great description. And I guess if any parent or student listening, they could just email you or call the clinic and get their questions answered.
Yep. Or going online with the Michigan City area Michigan City High School page and see it there. Yep.
Great. Thanks, Deb. So Jennifer, along those lines, so as Deb said, we've got the physical and the mental issues. Just students, I guess maybe whatever you want to talk about, but what are the top issues with high school students these days, whether it be relationship or just any issues?
Well, I think if I really think about each of the students that I work with, I think it usually does come down to relationship issues of some sort. And, teenagers' brains are still developing during high school. During, normal times, they have to work harder at regulating emotions and sort of growing into adult life, with more responsibilities and expectations on them. And now it's particularly challenging because teens they were gaining more independence, and now during when things are sort of locked down, they're sort of regressing, where they don't have the freedoms that they used to have, and they're stuck in close quarters with parents and siblings, and at a time in their developmental stage when they really need to be with their peers, and that's really important to them, and they need privacy at this age too. So for families to find a balance with teenagers in the house, it can be a real challenge. And I think that between parents and their teen children, I see two extremes sometimes, and we need to be somewhere in the middle. But one extreme would be that parents feel that once their child is in high school, they really don't need a parent anymore. And then on the other extreme, you have the parent that, because we're all home together right now during this time, they're micromanaging or, sort of trying very hard to, fix everything for the teen. I heard a funny story about one mom who tried to throw a Zoom prom for their child, and it kind of backfired and didn't turn out so well. So it's important for parents, for us to know that even though we want to, make everything better, there's some things we just can't fix right now. And I think to kind of bring it back to moderation, where we recognize that our teen sons and daughters need us. We are just as important to them as we always have been, but they need us in a different way. And right now, I think it's important to give support by active listening, like really spending some time open-ended and not filling it with your own questions, but just spending time together and let come out what is on their mind. And it might be kind of hard to draw them out, but I think teens really do welcome the invitation that their company is, welcome anytime, but you're not going to pull them out of their room when they're FaceTiming with friends, but, just to continue to reach out and definitely recognize that they're feeling stress and grieving the loss of some milestones, maybe that they didn't get to check off, some events or whatever, and that, teenagers show grief and depression and anger a little different than we do. They might withdraw. A lot of students that I'm working with actually recognize that they're spending a lot of time in their bedroom, a lot of time sleeping, and they're finding it difficult to get motivated to get out of bed, move to another room and do their work online. Hopefully we'll be having school in person again as planned, but it's been a real challenge. So I do think it comes down to relationships all around, and parents are stressed right now too. So it's challenging for everybody. I think we all need to sort of give each other a break, and maybe some little cracks here and there we can overlook and not not expand them even further.
Right. Gosh, great advice, Jen. I mean, honestly. So anything else you want to add there, or quite yet? I have a couple of questions, but
Sure.
yeah, I mean, I to summarize some of the main idea, you said, in our expect issues,
Yes.
we can't make them happy or fix their worlds.
Right.
And those issues can be physical, they can be emotional. But I love what you said, and this is hard for us parents, is to don't throw our thoughts on them, but ask them, how can we make the everyday better at home? Whether
Right.
it's where we have dinner, or do we have dinner, or after school work, what's working during the day, what's not working for you.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I think that before the pandemic, we were wondering, are we spending enough time together as a family, right?
Yeah.
How do I carve out time for quality?
Yeah.
interaction?
Now we're like,
And
ugh.
now it's really intense. But I would just throw out there that it might be possible that we are sharing a lot of distracted time together, but we're not sharing focused time together. Working from home, that we're constantly working, and so maybe we're all rooming together in the same house, but do we have designated meal times together, or is everyone on different schedules? Are teens taking their dinner into their room? and we only see each other in passing. So I think it's important not to confuse just time where we're kind of cooped up together for time where we actually are getting to know each other again, or actually getting a chance to recognize where our teen is at right now, because they're constantly changing. And we need to carve out space where we actually turn our phones off, parents turn our phones off, and really, pay attention, be present, so that when something does come up, when the teenager offers a topic to talk about, or says something in passing, you can catch it right then and be there for that present moment. That opportunity might pass by otherwise and might not come back.
Right. So interesting, Jennifer, the difference between physically being cooped up together and you're like, ugh. Deb talked about going into the office. I know when I go into the office at Doombrook, I'm like so excited to drive, get on the road, like, oh my gosh, instead of being at home. Very different than time with your family where you're maybe doing something fun, whether it's a walk or going to the store, or maybe doing some safe social distance, some outside of the house together. Very different than we're all working in our pods at home.
Right.
Yeah. So
Because
interesting.
I think that can be very isolating too. We've had a lot of even though we're together, it can be very isolating. And I think, Jen, you make a really good point, because I think look for those cues when it is good time to talk to your kids. And like she said, you don't want to, when it's not, because you're going to interrupt them or something. But, when you're on those car rides, or, it's really important, in my opinion, when you're talking to teenagers, that you find the right time, because if it's not the right time, forget it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly.
We can all relate.
Yeah, and if I ask one too many questions, my oldest son completely shuts down.
Right.
One time he actually told me, Mom, you can ask 3 questions and no follow-up questions. So I think I had to take the hint there that I was being a bit like an interrogator instead of just being open to what he has to offer. And that might just be time together. He might not want to share with me what's going on in, with his friends or whatever it might be. But our time together is still important, even if they say they don't want to talk to us.
Right.
And I think that support, like even asking, a student, one of the questions on our risk screening is, do you feel supported at home? Yes, no, somewhat. And a lot of them put no or somewhat. And I think maybe that's an opportunity for parents to say, because so many kids are struggling with the online schooling, to take that time to ask them, well, what could I do? Or how could I help, to make things better for you? And it can be something as simple as, I don't know, something as simple as, well, they maybe need this, or they need additional help, or a tutor when it comes to math, but I think if you don't ask, a lot of parents, like Jen said, are one extreme or the other, where they're not checking RDS, which is the grading system, to see if their child is behind in assignments, to see if the teacher has been emailing them. So, it is a hard balance when they're in high school, because I think you want to try to get them to transition to adulthood eventually.
Sure.
You don't want to micromanage them, but on the same hand, you're their parent and you need to know if they have 29 assignments missing. So, and then, that's when the teachers, I think, get frustrated. So I think communication is important, that, that if your child is struggling, by just looking at the RDS system, you'll know, because you'll see their grades, you'll see what's missing. And, it gives you an opportunity to ask them how you can help.
Right. Without interfering with their freedom, so to speak, but to look at that RDS and know exactly what's going on. I mean, right, Jennifer, be the parent. Kids will tell you they don't need parenting, but they do.
Yeah.
We don't want to be helicopter parents, but at the same point, it's our responsibility to know really where they're at. And if they're logged up in their room all day, it's pretty tough to know.
That's
whether they need you. They need you, whether they don't think they do, but you know what, they do need you. So,
but parenting it just needs to evolve and grow with the child. It's different parenting a teen, because they want to kind of try out their independence and show that they can handle their responsibilities themselves, but they still need guidance, and they need someone to check in with them. And role model, of course, too. I mean, if we're telling them, you need to get outside for a walk every day, are we doing that? And I think that it's just so important to have an understanding that they don't want to be nagged because they stop hearing that, but they do want to know that you care and that you are checking in on them. They want to know that, that they're not just floating out there kind of just hanging out until further notice because of this pandemic, especially during this time. I think that can lead to teens becoming sort of unmotivated, maybe even depressed, because one day is just flowing into the next without that type of without a routine, without someone
checking in with,
checking in. So
I mean, maybe in every week to have, Monday at 11, let's have a 10-minute powwow on how you're doing. So they know at least that time once a week, someone's going to be saying, how you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Bad idea. Or sometime. Well, ladies, thank you. That is so wonderful. Honestly, I could talk to you both, and I'm sure parents listening, I'm sure you'd be fine with them calling and saying, what do we do? It's so nice to hear that other parents are having these kind of struggles. Recognizing that there is a problem is the thing, and then reaching out for help. And lastly, Jennifer, I want to go back. You said such a powerful thing is giving each other a break. We've had that at our house, and I have three. We have one left in college, and two have periodically come back because of COVID, who are grown. And there are some times where and that's for a lot of normal COVID reasons. So to give each other a break and maybe not take on things that you might normally do, or revisit things at another time. Deb, you said that beautifully. You picked the wrong time, and it's different of night and day versus when someone's tired, or maybe they've not done well in school, or the parents overworked with their job. So give each other a break. And I think that goes in our society too. I mean, I remember when this first hit, and I'm at Aldi, and honestly, there was almost a fight behind me in line that I kind of had to help with. I mean,
was it over toilet paper?
Yeah. Oh, it was 9:15 in the morning. I thought we were going to have fisticuffs, but I mean, people have lost jobs. They've got financial struggles. We've got food insecurities. There are serious issues out there. So when we're out in public, you never know what someone's just experienced due to COVID, let alone the crazy political environment. So I think that goes not only with us as adults out in the world, but with ourselves. Be kind to ourselves, but be kind to our family, and give people a break.
Right.
Jen, did you have anything else you want to add to that?
Well, I did want to say that we do need to recognize that during the best of times, we have trouble, managing ourselves and our own lives and expectations. But during this time, it's just so amplified, so much more intense. And I think it's important to recognize how much change and uncertainty we're facing, and then imagine what that's like for teens the routines for children as they're growing up are so important. And so if we can try to maintain some type of routine, very, very basic, no big expectations, not a big thing that's hard to keep up with day to day, but just something so that we as parents and teens can feel meaning and purpose in each day, and recognize that the accumulative stress of daily, uncertainty and sort of not knowing what's happening next does create a whole lot of stress. So being kind to each other and maintaining a focus on what's important and letting go of the rest.
Yeah. Bravo, Jennifer. Bravo. Man, I need to play that every day.
It's helped me today too. Thanks, Jen.
Woo! I like feel a little weight off my shoulders. Well, and that key word, accumulative stress. I mean, even though a lot positives have happened, we've got the vaccines on the roll here, maybe in a few months, maybe by the end of spring, I think it's still the up and down of navigating that. So it is an accumulated stress. So thank you for you have great terms. And Deb, honestly, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you both. And boy, Michigan City High School is doing a good job at trying to address these needs. But I know the needs are great. So we wish all of our listeners the courage to reach out to you if needed, both parents and students. Is there anything else, ladies, you might want to add?
The only thing I do want to add is that because we can't have assemblies at school anymore, we are doing some virtual assemblies. We're bringing in, it's kind of exciting. We're bringing in Matt Hart from reacttobullying.org.
Nice.
So he's coming in and we're going to do a virtual one that way. And then we've got Hey Ugly from LaPorte, and they're going to be doing some virtual stuff because we're doing Wolfpack Hour, which is a lot of social emotional stuff that's been put into the curriculum because of everything that's going on. So we're excited that we are going to be able to provide some virtual assemblies for the students that will help with some of the other issues that are going on in their lives that maybe aren't related to COVID, but related to, substance abuse, depression, bullying. Sure. And so yeah, we thought we weren't going to be able to do that this year, but we were creative and we're going to be doing those.
Deb, that's wonderful. Now, let me ask, if there's a parent or a community person like myself, I'm thinking Doombrook's Healthy Families, if they wanted to access those presentations, would they be able to?
I think so. We're not at that point yet, but I think they were talking about making them YouTube videos. So
that'd be great.
Able to do that. So yeah, we will share those with the community once we get those done too.
That is so fabulous. See, there's the silver lining of the COVID, right? Thinking outside the box. Well, ladies, thank you ever so much. I wish you all the best. The sun's trying to peek out, and you guys bring a lot of sunshine to all of your students and parents, and I'm sure the whole school climate. So thank you for all you do, all you've done all these years, and thank you.